to be about. Did you get a chance to see Wanda Vision?
I
And
watched
what did
both
you think?
episodes. Yeah, I watched both episodes. I liked it. This is different. It's not a direct, I'm putting the cape on and slapping the belt around my waist and I'm going to play superhero for an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's not that. It's not even close to that. You have to pay attention to that show. And what I'm saying is that the way you have to pay attention is not even just based on the comic material. You have to pay attention in order to follow the show. If you don't, you're lost. And what I mean about how much I respect what you said a few minutes ago about putting the chips out there, going for broke, making your bets, and saying, okay, the hell with it, I'm all in, and here we go, is that Marvel literally said, along with the execs at Disney, they literally said, okay, we're going to try something different. And either the public is going to accept this or they're not. Either the fans are going to accept this or they're not. And they made no bones about what they wanted to do or how they wanted to do it. The show, as I understand it, has been getting fabulous response and fantastic reviews. Yes, people are somewhat confused and wondering where in the world are they going to go from here. But at the same time, it's one of those, if you want to find out, keep watching. It's drawing people in, it's making you pay attention. And again, yes, it is based on a series of comic book characters. But at the same time, you gotta pay attention. And that's the thing that I think is holding people in place, because it's a matter of what the heck is this? Because you have the reference points where it's dealing with the television aspect of the fourth wall and all that kind of thing, and it's playing games with the audience, but they're really cool games in my opinion.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting.
Is this really happening? Like days of old, lighting the spark of love that fills me. Am I dead?
No. Why would you think that?
Very, very interesting. That's why I love talking to you. I love your take. I love the way you. I just love it. I just appreciate you. Because you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's exactly right. Marvel, Disney took a chance, and they put their artistic vision first. Now, I don't always agree with that. I don't always agree with my vision is more important than the material. Sometimes the vision contradicts the material or dismisses the material, and I don't approve of that at all. Because for me, if I'm a superhero fan, I'm a superhero fan. But they're doing it in a way that's not contradictory, that's not insulting just yet. They're giving you a take that is way out of left field. And what's fascinating is that both episodes maintain, because I expected some change, but both episodes maintain that sort of illusion of, and I don't have an idea of what's going on. I mean, I have an idea of what's going on. Clearly what we see is not what is.
And why don't you have children yet? Our story.
I think what my wife means to say is that we moved from...
Moved from where? Married when? Damn it, why?
Oh, Arthur, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
But I don't know how we arrived there. I don't know why it's black and white. I don't know why it's, Lucy remake. I don't know how that reality could exist. Even if Wanda was able to, as a superpowered person, create a reality, how would she make it the way that, So there are a lot of questions. But what Disney has done, what Marvel has done, is that they introduced this new genre, and there's an underlying, there's something else going on. They let you know there's something else going on. And it intrigues you, it captures you, and it makes you want to see what it is that is going on. Having said that, I thought the choices they made were interesting and daring. The most daring choice of directing and producing that I would give is probably Doom Patrol. I don't know if you've watched Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
But you know, the take on that series is just fascinating to me because they just went there. They went there, like no bones. They were like, look, we're gonna give you, and it's up to you to take it or like it. We're gonna make what we want to make.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a donkey that's, you know, swallowing people and up this butthole, and that's when you have a cockroach screaming out. That's just daring in this day and age. And they did it, and it was a successful choice. I wouldn't say Wanda Vision is going that far, but they're going pretty far. So, for example, listen, a lot, you know, I don't know if it's the majority, but the majority of the audience of the current movies don't listen. Lucy, I Love Lucy was old when I was young. I grew up with it, but it was in reruns. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that people will get many of the references that were in the show, which, you know, I got the references. It was reminiscent. It was it was nostalgic, and it brought me back, and it made me smile, and it was cute. But it's an interesting choice because I think a large portion of the audience won't get that reference. And the other thing is that some of the I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions, and so I'm waiting to see how they answer those questions.
If I can extend part of what I said earlier and piggyback on one of your major points, I would love to. You ended up asking how and why is this in black and white, without really giving anything away. What I believe, long before what we saw in Age of Ultron, with the introductions of her and Pietro being there, is that when they were growing up in Sokovia, much like other areas of the world in reality, they were seeing old reruns of television shows. And even for today's mindset for a lot of people, the way that they saw those shows, that was a depiction of the perfect life.
Brilliant.
That was perfect from the point of view of not only the perfect life in America, but it was utopic on the other level of, in a lot of ways, certain people didn't even realize that a lot of the stuff was made up just for TV. They truly thought that this was how Americans live. Part of what we're going to find out is that however this is playing out in Wanda's mind or whoever's doing it is based on what she saw as a child.
Not to cut you off, but I love that explanation. It's a brilliant explanation, and it makes sense. And I guarantee that's what it's got to be. And if it's not in the show, then they made a mistake, and they should call you and give you credit for implementing it, because that's what it should be. Now the question still remains for me, though, and the reason I cut you off is because I have another question. The question still remains. Okay, I get it that she was influenced by, this is her field of reference. But how do you make reality black and white? And other people, so I don't know to what extent, it almost seems as though what's happening is beyond her control. Like, in other words, they're being placed in an environment that's being controlled, or she's creating a reality that's her own. And the question would be, where is she?
Both. I believe it's both. I believe she's doing a portion of it, and the other half of it is being manipulated.
Interesting. So that's where the show is successful. That's where it's successful, in that we can discuss these types of things and we can wonder what's going to happen, and there's intrigue and so on and so forth. That's where it's successful. The delivery was good. I don't think, I don't think it was spectacular or great, or I think that right now it could still, what we've seen is sort of a neutral situation for me. In other words, it's good, not mind blowing. If it leads us to a great place, then the value goes up. If it leads us to a negative place, then the value goes down. So,
Right.
so it wasn't that memorable, that great, that fantastic, that great delivery. It was just interesting, which is what I say when I don't quite, I'm not quite ready to compliment just yet. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes from there, and where it takes us. One last thing that I'm going to say is, did you read House of M, the Wanda storyline, and what did you think of it? And it seems as though that's the direction where Disney is taking it, which means that we might have it all wrong. We might think Galactus is going to be the next big thing, but it may not be. Scarlet Witch may turn out to be the next big villain in the Marvel Universe. What did you think of House of M? And do you think that's something that the movies should emulate and follow?
Well, first of all, you are incredibly perceptive, because I've talked to several people since last Friday, and only a handful of my friends are saying that they're following House of M in part. That's the thing. Again, that's why I love talking to you, because you've topped the ice cream cone. You've said it. Okay? That's what they're doing. It's House of M, but it's not only House of M, in my opinion. They went and grabbed, even though the Vision comic books, I don't think they're running anymore, although they might be. I'm not under the impression that they are. What I think they've done, and this is also a play on the show's title, what I think they've done is combine House of M with the Vision comics.
That's brilliant on your part. Yes.
Okay?
Yes,
And
exactly.
they've pushed both of them together into one universe and said, we're going to serve it up to you on a silver platter. The thing that, again, I don't think almost anybody caught, and I did after I watched the second episode, because the show is titled Wanda Vision. They wanted everybody to think that all of this is from her perspective. No, it's not.
Mm.
No, it's not. It's both of them combined. And I think he's back. I'm not quite sure in what capacity, but I believe when this is over with, we're going to see Vision again, permanently.
And so, do you like that direction? Do you approve? Yay or nay? What do you think?
It's an interesting take on it, and with him being an android, yeah, they can bring him back any kind of way they want to. Because even when they got rid of him in Infinity War, okay, even though it was terrible to watch him be pulled apart, I never thought Vision was gone for good. Not in the slightest. Granted, he's a combination of different things, but he's not human.
Yeah, and he could download his subconscious.
Thank you. Thank you. Because one of the things that everybody kept screaming about at the end of Endgame, when they were coming through those portals, everybody kept saying, where's Vision? Where's Vision? Where's it? That would have been too simple to do. To turn around and twist the audience that's following this and say at the end of it, that snap thing that guy didn't mean a damn thing. He's back. And I think that's where they're headed.
It's interesting. That's a brilliant observation. I don't. It scares me a little bit, because let me put it this way. House of M occurred at the time when I was being turned off by comic books. It was a time when comic books were becoming dark and brooding. And, I don't know if you remember the comic, but I mean, just the artwork, is just dark, and the tone was dark, and then the Vision gets ripped apart. This was the time when the superhero genre was transferring into that dark thing that my brother and I and you talked about the other day. So I didn't like House of M. I didn't like that direction. It's too brooding, too dark, not the genre that I grew up loving.
Right.
And I also, if I were to choose the next big thing, the next big direction of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I wouldn't choose Wanda as the villain. I would prefer a Galactus. I would prefer, someone else. So it's interesting. It's not to say that I think it would be bad. It's not to say that I would automatically reject it. It's not to say that I think it couldn't be done well, but given the choice, I'd prefer a larger scale type of thing. The Wanda story is kind of like a redoing of the Phoenix saga to me. It was sort of a retelling of that, female superhero goes bad type of thing. And the original to me is still the best, and if I wanted to see that story, bring it to me with Phoenix. Don't bring it to me with Wanda.
No.
So that's...
If I may, are you aware that they've already said that Elizabeth Olsen is going to have a huge impact on Doctor Strange too?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, yes.
And that's the other half of where I think they're going, partner.
Yeah, you're right.
I think that when this is over, they're going to turn around and say, wait about 9 months, maybe another year, and we're going to give you the other half of the story. Because I think something happens to her. I'm not saying she's the big bad. I'm not saying that at all. But I believe that something will happen to her by the time this closes out, to turn around and say, okay, the only way to save Wanda Maximoff is to have Stephen Strange do something to save her life. Keep in mind, the title of the movie is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Don't forget that.
That's brilliant. That you were giving me credit earlier. Now that's genius. That's great. That's exactly right.
They're already playing with the audience.
And by the way, in that sense, that story could be told without being the grand Marvel verse bad guy, but it could be an extremely dramatic story told within the Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange world. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And that could be done really, 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 really well. And that's brilliant to catch. It's the multiverse of madness. So what? Yeah, you're right. If Wanda's losing her mind, something happens in Doctor Strange that takes her to the others. Yeah, I could see it. Mm-hmm. I could absolutely see it. I could absolutely see it. Which means that this series will continue to be less of a superhero action type of delivery and more like a psychological thriller type of thing, where we see her descending into madness or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. That's why I applaud them for the effort of saying all bets are off. We're doing this.
I got you. Well, listen, I hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation. Certainly, if you let us know what you think, let us know if you agree or disagree. Leave the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. All these things matter.
This looks like a job for Superman.
Hey, look! It's Spider-Man!
The dynamic duo return next week. Don't listen.